Hi, readers. My name is Dawn Use, and I'm the coordinator for Booktrib's book club program. I'm here today with author Genet Simone to talk about her memoir, Teaching in the Dark, the story of how one harrowing journey becomes the transformative experience of a lifetime. What a tagline. We're thrilled to have Teaching in the Dark as one of the selections available in Booktrib's book club program for February. Thank you so much for taking time to talk to us today, Genet.
Oh, thank you. It's really a pleasure.
Excellent. I am excited to dive in because I want to know all about this book. So no spoilers, obviously, but what can you share about the book that we wouldn't find on the jacket cover or isn't evident from reading the back cover?
Oh, this is a hard question. There are a lot of little twists and turns in the book. I deliberately wrote it that way because that's what it was like, up and down,
Yeah.
the life of teaching. But something that kind of poked through is the sense of being in a place like that and having very few distractions really heightened my sense of kind of teaching from the inside out. I don't really know how else to explain it. There were so many moments that I captured. I feel like I captured them fairly well in the book because I journaled like crazy,
Yeah.
of having this sense of like looking, not even looking, but sensing deep inside something shifting or moving in me, and almost like me looking out and whatever that larger thing is in life that pulls us through circumstances, kind
Yeah.
of like that, looking back in. So I have a number of scenes where there's this like shift in awareness. It's almost like a little bit of a morphing, that I think the reader will really have fun with. And I think one of the reasons I wanted to heighten those, not because they happened, but also because I think when we slow down in our lives, we become much more aware of that kind of inside out shifting if we allow that to happen. And it changes you. It's nothing that you can really force. And I think one of my favorite parts, so this is just the teeniest, that's not a spoiler alert, but it's my chapter called Coming to My Senses, when I was waking up from a dream and had this sense of being in a kaleidoscope and looking through the, like being inside of it and looking through and
Yeah.
seeing all the glass and the tumbling of the colors, and then feeling the turning of it as if I was being turned, and
Wow.
then being on the outside of it. And so there are a number of scenes like that that I think the reader is really going to enjoy living with me, and probably recognize some of that happening in their own life at different times.
That actually transitions really nicely into it's almost evident, you've almost said like why this would make such a good book club selection, but let's kind of like zero in on that a little bit. And what do you hope book clubs take away from this, or the questions they would ask?
Yeah, I asked the same question, what's pulling me into this book? And I think a quite obvious one is pretty much everybody on the planet has had a teacher.
Yeah.
We've had multiple teachers, whether it was public school or private school or even
Yeah.
homeschool, in that type of a setting. And therefore, I think it's just fun, and a little wacky to get inside the head of a teacher and what they're having to do. And they may look just like this on the outside, and yet there's like boom, 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 all of this stuff
Yeah.
going on. There's a lot of humor in that, let me tell you. There's a lot of, there has to be.
Yeah.
So I feel like the appreciation of teachers and what they go through, is just, it's worth a lot, to go through that. You just realize, like I said, how many decisions teachers make and the situations they're facing. I
Yeah.
had so many times when the kids were doing the silliest things, and I kept thinking, I have no rule for this.
Yeah.
Should I have a rule for that? Behave.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of fun. And then I wrote down a couple other things, and like I said, kind of a renewed appreciation. And there are just so many themes to explore. I've had the people who have read my book through have said, "Gosh, you talk about landscape. I thought about the time that I traveled, to Spain, or the time that I went to
Yeah.
Florida, or whatever, and that whole sense of being an outsider
Yeah.
came rushing back." So I'm hoping that my book will also speak to those times when people have taken travel. It could be across town, but you're a new person there. And
Yeah.
so again, there's a lot, I think a lot of value in reflecting on who were you before you went and who are you when you came back.
Yeah.
who were when you were there. There's a sense of freedom to all of that.
Yeah.
I think that's really, again, just a fun theme, and there's the theme of raising kids and the theme of what's school for anyway? Why are we
Yeah.
doing this
Yeah.
year after year? And so there's quite a few. And then, trying foods that are not familiar.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was a vegetarian,
Yeah.
subsistence culture, and so that was kind of fun. And the other thing I think that's just popping through it right now is there's certain turning points in our lives that we don't see it
Right.
until later.
Yeah.
And that too is one of the reasons that I ended up being able to finally write this book after having it in my head 30 some years.
Yeah.
And when I came back to teaching high school, and all of that just came rushing back. And I realized then the value, I knew there was a lot of value in having had that experience, but
Yeah.
I didn't really get it until after I started teaching high school again. So that I think that that's the value of retrospection and
Yes.
taking some time with that is deeply informative for where you're headed next.
Yes. Well, and education is such a hot point right now in the media, and it's on everyone's mind for various reasons, some not great, some good. And so I think it's such a relevant book too as well, to sort of have us like, I love what you said about like, why are we doing this anyways? Why do we have school, education, teaching, and that's a good theme to tap into for sure, especially in these times.
Mhm.
So yeah, that sounds
Yeah, we
fabulous.
kind of go through ebbs and flows. During COVID, we were the heroes, and now not so much.
Yeah, I did a school presentation yesterday. I was talking to kids about character development, and the teacher is really one of those like groundbreaking sort of like really good teachers. And he made me think of, the teacher that transformed my life, grade 6 teacher, transformed my life. And I'll never forget her. And no one can change my mind about the value of that. And so, I could see myself already getting deep into discussion after reading this book. So that's
Yeah,
great.
I think people they do come back and tell me that they suddenly yeah, just stop for a moment to think about that one teacher.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
usually one. There's usually one that really made that impact. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Hopefully always for the good, but sometimes I know there's not
Yeah,
the
sometimes not. Right.
yeah.
We remember them too. Those were also turning points in my life, which are in the book. Yeah.
Yeah. Fascinating. Well, I can't wait to read it. We're going to veer off from your book
Yep.
now because we're still building our 2024 reading list. So, what should I add? What's the best book that you've read in the last year? Fiction, nonfiction, and why?
The this is hard to pare down, but the book, as I was saying earlier to you, is the one that I would pick up to read again, to
Yeah.
study it again. So I found myself studying the language and also just really enjoying the story. And this one's by Sue Monk Kidd, and it's called The Invention of Wings.
Oh,
The Invention of Wings. And I don't know how it came across my radar, but one of the reasons I love this, it has some elements of truth to it. So I really love books that have a little like historical fiction
yeah.
uh, and seeing, I would say, getting into scenes that provide the perspective of one character,
Right.
then you go see it from the perspective of the other character.
Right.
Remember, Barbara Kingsolver had in the Poisonwood Bible, she did that like from 4 different perspectives, and I
Yeah.
was just like, wow. And so that's really inspired me to maybe try that someday. I hear it's not easy, but yeah, The Invention of Wings has Sarah and Angelina. And I think it's Angelina Grimke, the Grimke sisters.
Yep.
And so it's the story of Sarah and a slave girl that's like given to her for her birthday when she's young. And she goes by, I think it's Hetty, but they call her Handful, which I really love. And so the chapters go back and forth between their lives. And yeah, that's a beautiful book. I would read that one again. Sue
Okay,
Monk
thank
Kidd.
you. I love
Yeah.
that author. I love Sue's
Yeah.
books usually, so I just haven't read that one yet. So I'm gonna add it
Hmm.
to my TBR right away. So
All right.
I think we could talk all day, but I know I have to wrap this up. So thank you again for your time and good luck with this release. Uh,
Thank you.
Thank you. For more information about Genet's book, please check out the book club page on the booktrib.com website.